Hello, ham radio world. Today I'm going to tell you what some of them won't tell you. Like certain model radios, the HF part in the transmit really sucks. Okay? You can, they'll tell you, oh, it's intelligible. You know, for some people, intelligible is not good enough because they may not understand what you're trying to say. You always got to repeat yourself. And it's bad when you hear a CB radio sound better than that radio. It costs us 3 times the price. There's an old guy, I don't know who he is. He's in ham radio and he's good at making jokes. And I had a Yaesu FT 857 Delta HF 2 meter UHF. You know, probably on 2 meter and UHF, it radio sounded good. But when you took it over to HF, the transmit sounded bad. I even heard one, the guy had it, and his probably sounded the best of all of them. And you don't really hear much of that radio on the air because they may have another radio, like an Yaesu FT 950. Well, I used to have an 840, strictly HF. The transmit sounded better than the 857. But the guy made a joke about radios, and he called the Yaesu FT 857. Well, he called it the 8 Filthy 7. Boy, he hit that right on. That radio had filthy transmit. You know, it was lousy. You try the equalizer and all this blah, 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 and it don't really help compared to the 950, the Kenwood 2000, you know. So it's really lousy. Oh, maybe the speakers, some guys may like it because they're hearing the receiver and that speaker sounds really good. Nothing wrong with that. But, you know, I've seen CB radios, old tube sets, like the Hamlin 11-meter radio. Well, they'd probably love that radio because it had better sounding coming out of the speaker than a lot of these radios do. Yeah. And beginner rigs, they're okay. You know, I'm not telling you go out the best you can afford, it's fine. But if you're just getting into it, you want the best for your money and you don't want to waste money. Oh, I got to trade it in because I want to get this radio. It might be a good idea to just save extra money up so you can buy that radio. You know, maybe the one a better transmit costs $200 more, so it'd be worth the wait. Okay, and see a lot of guys, they don't like the G5RV. Yeah, it's good for RF feedback. It makes the transmitter sound bad, and so you may want to use a full size dipole if you can do it that way. Or can't think of the, one of those infed antennas are pretty good. I can't I don't know, it almost sounds like Winston. Oh, Wyndham infed. I heard those. They sounded pretty good. But I know a guy. You know, he didn't like people on CB or whatever. You know, try to talk. Hey, we'll talk on 10 meters, whatever. Oh, that's CB. But you know, biggest hypocrite on ham radio because he had one of his radios modified to do 11 meters. Anyways, but I knew a guy. He was a ham, and he used to have a CB shop down there, Ontario truck stop, and old Bill Good. A lot of people who had him, they'll tell you he was the best ever around. Now we got a lot of these little CBs coming out. They're gonna be FM, but you may want to take it to a guy who works on radios who has like a Yaesu 1000 or 5000. That he can go in there and maybe fine tune that FM a little bit more. You know, because the factory don't go in depth. Okay, it works. Go send it out. You know. Anyways, some guys they got really nice antennas. I knew a guy who like I said, he didn't like Seabeers, but he had the a Telerex, big old beam, 100-foot tower, 20 meters, big signal. Okay. Then he had that. Oh boy, it was funny how you go brain dead when you try to think of it. But they it's a beam antenna, short boom, 3 or 4 elements. Oh, it's a stepper IR antenna. That's what it is. And all it is 3 dipole, 4 dipole. You know, director, driven, and reflector. You know, little computer control box, and you set it up, hit 10 meters, boom, it calculates the antenna to the length it need to be, boom, there you go. But he compared to that Telerex, to that stepper IR, and then the stepper IR outdid that stepper IR. The Telerex outdid the stepper IR by 1 dB, and the guy claimed that that's because the Telerex had a longer boom. Longer the boom, more the gain, you know, and more elements too. But I mean, he even beat the guy who had a multi-band antenna. This thing was huge, huge. You know, I paid like $25,000 for that antenna, and they got a little contest on the air, and he beat that guy by 1 dB. Anyways, but yeah, a lot of guys out there, they don't want you into. If you're from CB, they may not want you on the air. Okay, because they think all CBers are idiots. I see a lot of hams on the radio are idiots. Okay. One old boy mentioned all the code ever did was keep people off the air, or they may not like you because you don't know how to repair a radio, whatever. But if everybody knew how to repair a radio, the guys that are out there doing it wouldn't be making as much money as they do now. But yeah, it's a shame Yaesu and Kenwood and Icon don't make good watt meters anymore. They got all that in the 90s, I think it was. But yeah, I was really disappointed. And the 857, okay, I mean, he just had lousy audio, and I heard CB radios that sound better. An FT840 Yaesu sound better. So far, even the AM on most of your Yaesus suck. Okay, I don't know if it's due to the filtering or what. But I heard Kenwoods sound good. Icon even better. Okay, like the 706 and 7000. Once you dial that baby in, oh, it's perfect. You couldn't do anything with the 857. And the FT450, well, one guy, he always had an RF, but that could be due to his antenna was too close to the radio. You always want it far away from your shack because RF from the antenna hit the power supply and kill your radio, shut it off. It's called the crowbar effect. That's what it does to the power supply. It shuts them down. Astron don't do that. I had it happen once before. It was a weird experience, but definitely know about that, and that's because the antenna was like 10 feet away from the radio, you know. But yeah, ask around. Other hams out there. There are some good hams out there. They'll tell you. They won't steer you wrong, and like that. And you know, they say, "Oh, that's a beginner's radio, whatever." And if you got the money to buy the better one, you may want to do that. If you're a poor person, don't have a lot of money, and it'll be fine for you. If you're happy with it, go for it. There's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of guys on ham radio may not like certain people because they're from CB or they didn't word things correctly, and all of a sudden they just back off, move on to someone else. Anyways, there's some rude people out there on ham radio. Not everyone as friendly as can be. There's people working in the stores. Some are good, and one's not. But they got in California, you got HRO, and in Vegas, you got Gigaparts. It might be. I can't think of the store in Las Vegas. And there's some guys out there in ham radio that they really know their electronics, and they'll, okay, this is what you do. This is how you do it. I had a guy do that. I wanted to convert my amplifier over from factory stock light bulbs that would burn out and flicker. Every time you transmit, the lights would flicker. I converted it to LED lights, and he told me how to do it. He said, oh yeah, you need to install this resistor. And I did exactly what he said. No more flickering in my lights. And so, anyways, and if you're going to be converting your lights in your amplifier over, and you got a little blue frequency readout, you may want to switch over the lights, your amplifier, to be blue, kind of blend in with the system there. But these new cars, you don't see many cars nowadays with a radio because the cops and stuff. If you're going to buy a VHF 2-meter radio dual bander, ask if it has a Bluetooth. You hook up a Bluetooth microphone. That way you don't have to put a microphone in your hand, because cops see you with a microphone in your hand, he'll pull you over and give you a ticket. So nowadays is a good day to buy a radio if it's Bluetooth. Alright, they got them out there. And it only can cover one ear if it's a headset, okay? If it's a headset, like it should only cover your right ear, not your left ear. And you enjoy it. But read in your manual in your car, okay? And see if it says anything about a two-way radio being in your car. Like I had one old Thunderbird, had the OBD1 computer, and it said a two-way radio could damage this car's computer. So read your manual. One advice I was told, when you run your coax, don't run it in a straight line with electrical wiring in your car. You may want to zigzag it. I don't know if that's true or not, but there are some guys out there who really know their stuff. And there's a way you can build a full-size dipole, and you think it won't fit in your yard because your yard's too short for an 80 meter. Old man who worked on my amplifier taught me how to build a Z antenna, so check out my 80 meter Z antenna on YouTube. Yeah, anyhow, well, if you're new to the radio, welcome. There are some good guys that'll give you some good advice, and there's some guys out there, they won't tell you a thing because they're afraid that you might be better than them. Oh yeah, I met some selfish people out there. But it's okay, they'll want to know everything you got. Because, like, you may got this radio and it's better than theirs or whatever. It's weird. You got some people to suck up to you too, because they're out trying to get your radio equipment from you cheap. Yeah. So I had one guy comment, hey, if you die, can I have your amplifier? What? I mean, what did you ever give me was so nice? So anyways, that's that. Not down on my luck, you own the business, you never gave me a job, yet you want me to will you my amplifier? I'm sorry, that ain't right. But, yeah, there's some leeches out there. And there's there's ones we call ham radio vultures. The vulture is when a person dies, they run straight to the family's house wanting to buy all the equipment. And I heard of one person really cold. Same day the guy died, and he's right at that doorstep and asking the guy's wife, "Hey, you want to sell his radio?" There's some cold-hearted people out there. Yeah, the guys that go to the estate sales, we call them the vulture. Yeah, watch out for the vulture. And now there's some ham radio operators out there. They'll give you some good advice what they like, and they believe what is good and what they didn't like, and they think of an honest truth about a radio. They don't settle for a radio or the transmit is intelligible. Okay, or if they have that radio, they only use it on 2 meters or 440. Yeah, so it's a shame they don't make a mono band or sideband radio. I'd buy one. I'm waiting for Bullfang to do that. Because if Bullfang ever comes out with a radio that has sideband, they're going to take a lot of money away from Kenwood, ICOM, and Yaesu. Right now, Kenwood's not making a radio. Oh, they just came out with a handheld. Big deal. There's 1,000 handhelds out there. Only thing bad about a handheld, then you're going to want a mag mount. You're going to want an extra battery pack and all that stuff. Then you're going to need a drop-in charger. So, by the time you add it all up, you could buy a nice mobile radio. It'll save you a lot of money. They used to make a slide mount. Okay, you've seen a lot of guys with CB radio had them. I seen some with ham radio had them. You slide the radio in and out. Yeah, no problem, because you don't want to leave it in the car overnight or so no good dirty SOB, because they work for a guy who underpays them. He goes out and steals everything. So, yeah. And it's nice they got the remote head and all that stuff. I'm really not into that because that's wear and tear, wear and tear, and wear and tear. Next thing you might have to do is buy a new remote head or send it in to the factory, get it fixed. But Yaesu may no longer build that radio, so they don't work on it anymore. Now, they may work on a Yaesu 1000 MP, the best radio they ever built. Okay, I think they still work on that radio. I'm not sure. But only good tech around I know of is, but he's in Canada. If you could afford the shipping, is Mr. Carlson on YouTube. Yeah, check out his Yaesu 1000 MP radio repair video. Yeah. And some guys get mad at you. They don't want to work on a CB radio. Oh, no, we don't work on CB radios. But it's fast money. I don't know why they don't take it. I knew a guy did it. And he was about #1 repair guy in the United States. And he had no problem working on it. You know, he could fix a radio in 10 minutes. That's $35, $60, you know, no problem. But, yeah, that was an intelligent guy there. All the dummies passed up the easy money. All right, and one guy on the CB shop, he was a ham, and he said the guy that came in and bought all his CB stuff, they spent more money on their equipment than the hams. And there's a rumor out there that I heard the top dogs say, ham radio operators are cheap. But they buy that $10,000 radio. I don't know why he says that. At one time, Yaesu made a radio that cost $25,000, but a certain way that radio broke down, Yaesu themselves, even though they built it, they could not repair that radio. So I heard people borrowed their money back and an FT 5,000. But and if you buy a radio, buy the extended warranty right there. That's well worth. Some guys say, "Oh, it's not. That's not worth it." No, I found extended warranties were well worth the money. But I don't do more new videos at the ham radio store. But thank you to those who watched it, my videos. But I may do some antennas, because there's guys out there, they know how to do electronics, but they can't build an antenna. We've got hams out there, they're in an extra class, they cannot wire a microphone. The same guy don't like you because you came from CB, All right, catch you later. Thank you for watching my video. Yeah, you don't want an intelligible audio only. You want clarity. Okay? Everything has to be clear as can be. All right, bye.